Hello, everybody. This is Teacher Levy. I'll be making today another slow English video. I have found a trail near a lake. So today I will talk about getting a job. Notice talk about getting instead of getting a job in English, and I will share my first job experience. What was Teacher Levy's first job? How did I get the job? And what was the job? So, first, I would like to say these videos are designed for you to help improve your listening comprehension, also to work on your pronunciation. This is good pronunciation practice, so you can do shadowing exercises or find words which might be difficult to pronounce. Notice might, they might be difficult to pronounce, and you can practice saying those words after I have said those words. Last video, I said girl, which was a difficult word in the past for some of my students. The other similar words to girl that you can practice are curl. If you are working out, you might be doing curls, and also world. So you can practice those RL sounds, those RL words. I have talked about a small river like the one behind me. Comment below what is the name of a small river. I have mentioned it a couple times, so comment if you are familiar. Familiar with is to know the word for a small river. Also, I would like to mention there are lessons available with me one-on-one through italki. You can find the information in the description of the video if you would like to speak with me and practice your English that way. Of course, speaking is very important. Notice important. We can say important for improving your language so you can speak with me, or at least, notice at least, practice speaking out loud with yourself. There is also my Instagram in the description. You can follow me there. Sometimes I post exclusive content on stories or on Instagram stories, and not always, but sometimes you might learn something there. Of course, social media can be quite, notice quite, it can be quite distracting, but for learning English You can discipline. You can discipline yourself to focus on learning new words, expressions, and working on your pronunciation. So, with that being said, after you finished saying an introduction or something similar and you are ready to move on, you can say, with that being said, let's talk about getting a job. Notice a job. We don't say getting job. We need to say getting a job. Sometimes, or a lot of times, students forget articles like a or an, and we should say getting a job. My first job was working in a restaurant. Notice restaurant, restaurant. Working in a restaurant, it was it was actually in Italian restaurant in Connecticut. Connecticut. I was maybe 15 or 16. Of course, in the US, teenagers usually start work at 16 if they want to work or have to work. I was 15, maybe, or 16. Sometimes people can start a year younger, especially if it is only a part-time job. Notice we have part-time job and full-time job. Part-time jobs are maybe 20 hours, 22 hours a week. A full-time job is usually 40. Notice 4T, we can say 40 hours a week. So my job was a part-time job. I worked only 12 hours around. I worked on Fridays and Saturdays. Notice Friday, Saturday. When we speak quickly, we can say Saturday. There's also a birdhouse. Check that out. Birdhouse on the tree. So I worked on Fridays and Saturdays, which is, of course, part-time. You can say, I work part-time, or I have a part-time job, or I work full-time. I have a full-time job. I will now share my responsibilities. Notice responsibilities. Responsibilities are what you need to do at your job. Sometimes I ask my students when they tell me where they work, I ask, what are your responsibilities at work or at your job? Then they tell me, or they should tell me, what they need to do at their job. What are their day-to-day tasks? Day-to-day is every day. Day-to-day tasks are things we need to do every day at work in this example. So, what were my tasks or responsibilities at the Italian restaurant. I love Italian food, but I was not a cook or a chef. I was actually the dishwasher. The dishwasher is the person who washes the dishes. Every restaurant has a dishwasher. At least they did. Maybe now there are machines which handle the whole process, but we used a washing machine, and we also had me cleaning the dishes. I would rinse off the plates, the glasses, and then put them into the machine, which had soap and extra washing fluids. It helped sanitize. To sanitize is to make clean. You can use hand sanitizer to clean your hands. So I didn't work long at that job. It was right before the summer, and shortly after, I had to travel. So I wanted to work, or wanted to work a little, and then spend time not working before traveling. So it was maybe around 1 month or 4 weeks of working at the restaurant. Now, I got referred by my brother. I heard that a lot of times now people struggle with finding a job. Perhaps the job market is difficult in different countries, because I've heard it from students in many different countries who have told me there is a lot of competition and not too many jobs. Maybe it's true, maybe not, but I'm sure it helps getting referred by somebody. Referred means somebody recommends you. They work perhaps already at the company, or they know the owner, the CEO, or the manager, and they can recommend that you also get that job at the company. So my brother worked there before me. He was also in high school, and he knew the owner, who was also the head chef at the restaurant. The head chef is the main chef at the restaurant. Notice chef, not chef or chef, chef. And he referred me. I didn't even need to bring a resume, or sometimes people call it a CV. I showed up. I showed up means I went there. I talked to the manager, and in a couple minutes, they offered me the dishwashing position. So I started. Some listeners or viewers might find this weird, but I had to work from, I think, 4 or 5 till nighttime, whenever the last customer left, usually around 10. But I remember one night it was very late, so I would get hungry. And of course, the night shift or the afternoon shift is very busy. A lot of people are going out to go out for dinner. So I didn't have time to eat, but sometimes people would send back their food, and I was starving. Starving means really hungry, starving. So I would take some fries from the leftovers. Leftovers is what people leave. Some people are very picky about their food, which means they don't like to eat everything. They are very selective. They like to select what they eat, and they leave a lot of food on the plate. So I was starving. Sometimes I found some fries, even a hamburger one time, and I took a few bites before throwing it out. So maybe other dishwashers have done the same. If you have, feel free to comment and we can relate to each other. Another time, I was washing the dishes, and one of the servers are the people who serve the food. He came to the dishwashing area and started talking to me. Nothing out of the ordinary, which means nothing special. But when he turned around, I noticed he had a small black spot on his neck. And I looked at it. I looked at it. So I told him, "Hey, Chris." Chris was his name. "Hey, Chris, come over here." So he walked back. I said, "Turn around." And I took a closer inspection. To inspect is to look. I took a closer look and I said, "I think that's a tick." A tick is a small insect. I will put a picture that sucks your blood. Notice blood. It sucks your blood. They are disgusting. Notice disgusting. But he had that on his neck. I told him, "Chris, how are you coming to work with a tick on your neck?" He said, "Oh, I'm a Boy Scout and I was in the forest digging a trench." A trench is a half tunnel similar to a long hole, which you would find in World War One, World War Two, where they had trenches in the ground. He was digging a trench for some reason at Boy Scouts, and that's where he got the tick. Another coworker then removed the tick from his neck, and they thanked me for spotting it. I saw it. I spotted it. Spotted. I spotted it. So I recommend for all of you looking for a job to learn the crucial is important, learn the crucial vocabulary for the field you are trying to get into. Learn the vocabulary of course, in a restaurant, you should learn words like plates, forks, knives, and basic conversation language and small talk as a dishwasher. If you are trying to become an engineer in the defense industry, working for defense contractors or military organizations, you will have some more detailed vocabulary to learn. Thanks for watching today. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for reaching 30,000 subscribers recently, and I will keep making videos and do a live stream soon. The lessons are available in the description if you would like to speak with me, and also comment any other suggestions or recommendations you would like me to do in the future. Thank you for watching. If you support these videos, feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.